Howdy. We're gonna make some coffee. With the Aeropress today in my little glass mug. The Aeropress is not fit over the mug, so I've got a little converter for the cup. A new coffee, a coffee I've not tried yet, from Pact, which is my subscription. It's a Brazilian dark roast, which they sent me this month, 250 grams. Roasted on the 17th. I opened it yesterday just to have a smell. It arrived yesterday. Very small beans, but they smell wonderful. Roasty, but like chocolatey and like still quite light and complex. They don't smell like a standard dark roast, personally to me anyway. We have Harrogate water in our kettle, good quality spring water, and we are just going to make ourselves a pretty standard Aeropress at this point. For me, it's kind of what I go for when I want to make something, try something new, or just have a nice stronger cup of coffee. The Hoffman recipe, which is 11 grams to 200 ml, is okay, but I've been enjoying a slightly stronger coffee, so we're gonna go for about 14 grams. We're going to be going with between 14 grams to 200. So 15.6. I'm not super bothered if we're like super exact. I care more about I'm just in the ballpark, in the range that I should be. Get a little spray on those bad boys. So grind setting is a 1, as fine as possible. And I'm gonna do it the same as I would do a medium or a dark roast, except I'm going to actually brew a little bit colder. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put the kettle on and I'm gonna grind up the coffee. In. That's now gonna grind up. And we're gonna prep our Aeropress while that grinds. Ooh, smells wonderful. So the kettle's boiling. The Aeropress. Now, the way a lot of people will brew inverted, so they will put the coffee in like that, add the water, so it doesn't drip out of the bottom, the filter. When you do, no need to. It's a waste of time. Instead, I'm going to brew standard, but I'm going to brew with more filters. Now, normally you'll use 1, maybe 2. I'm going to go with 4. If I'm out and I have a limited number, I'll go for 2. Unless I'm trying to make something espresso style, in which case I will use at minimum 3, normally 5 at home. But I'm going to use 4 for this exact brew. Now, because I'm using 4 papers, normally you wouldn't rinse an Aeropress paper. There's no need. They're not. There's not enough paper there to facilitate the need to rinse them at all. You shouldn't need to rinse an Aeropress paper ever, but because we're using 4 papers, gonna want to rinse them just in case. Now, I've not actually done a test to see if 4 papers will give us that papery taste in the cup, but I don't want to try. I don't want to waste my coffee. And it's such a small amount of water waste, that is not a massive problem. So the kettle's going to boil. We're going to add, doesn't really matter how much, a small amount of water. Not even up to the 1, not even up to halfway to the 1 on the Aeropress. Just to rinse the paper, make sure there's no papery taste in the cup. I say 200 grams. This cup does not actually hold 200 grams of water. This holds about 170, 180 comfortably, so that we're going to be going about that. My method is a little bit unorthodox as far as Aeropresses go, But as I said, we're going to add just a little bit of water, rinse our papers. I will say that obviously rinsing your papers like this using just spring water. If you're buying bottled water like me, and you can get it very cheaply, I'm getting those bottles at 50p a bottle for 1.5 litres. I think it's worth just to make sure, but you don't have to. Now, this process can take a second because obviously it's got 4 papers to go through. With one paper, it goes to be quite quick. The good thing about using multiple papers like this is you are able to, it slows the flow rate right down. So there's less under extraction in the cup, which is very good. Now, it's all waiting for a bit of this water to fully go through. It's also going to preheat the cup a little bit while we prep the rest. Now we're not going to reboil this kettle. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to open the top of the kettle and let some steam escape, let some heat escape. We want to be brewing closer to 85 to 90 degrees Celsius. That kettle's going to be right up at 97, 96, straight from brew. So I'm just going to let that do that. The water is all gone. So we're going to get our coffee, give it a little shake. I'm going to tare, and we're just going to make sure that we have about 14 to 15 grams in the Aeropress. .5, about what we put in, which is fine. Then what we're going to do, we're going to close up the kettle. We're going to level the bed. So we'll get the Aeropress and just give it a shake. Level the bed. We're going to tip our water into our water cup, which is over here. Very good. Now we have the coffee in the Aeropress on the thing. Now we're going to add about, so we're going for 180 brew. I'm going to add about 40 grams of water into the 14 grams. What this is going, and then we're going to agitate heavily. So about 40 grams. There, start the timer. And with that 40 grams in, I'm going to agitate. I'm going to agitate for about 10 seconds. Now, this is enough water compared to the coffee amount, and it's not just going to become an instant sludge. But we're blooming. Now, I'm going to wait until 30 to 40 seconds before I add the rest of my water here. A bloom like this, I think, is way more important in a dark roast than it is on a light or a medium. You can probably just add the entire cup at this point. I personally want to have that bloom, let the CO2 escape from the dark roast because there's not a lot. So a shorter bloom, a smaller bloom is going to be fine. Now that we've gone up, we're going to add our remaining 100 grams of water, 140 grams. Go up to about 180. And then I'm going to leave that, and then at a minute, it'll take about 10 seconds to pour that. At a minute, I'm going to give it a stir for about 10 seconds. Again, we're just agitating that coffee. Now I'm going to get the plunger. Plunger's going to go in sideways, push down, and then pull up a little bit. Create a vacuum in the Aeropress. Now we're going to wait until 2 minutes now, so we're actually going for a shorter extraction time than we would with a light or a medium roast. With a light or a medium roast, you want to make sure, a light roast especially, you want to get very high extraction generally. I say very high, you're going to peak at around 20-21% extraction. But you want to get a high extraction. You don't want under extraction, really at all. Under extraction in a light roast I think is horrible. In a darker roast, slightly under extracting is way better than over extracting a little bit. So we're going to wait for this to get 2 minutes, and then what we're going to do is we're going to give this a little shake. I'm going to hold both the plunger and the Aeropress, lift up, and I'm just going to shake it gently. And then we're going to wait now to 3 minutes. So what this has done is the coffee, we've given it a stir, we've agitated it, but the coffee is still going to be at the top. The coffee is still going to naturally float to the top of the bed. When we shake it like that, we are disrupting the bed at the top, and it should drop to the bottom. So I want to give that a little bit more time. It also increases the brew time slightly. But normally I'm doing a 3.5 minute brew time on a light roast. Maybe 2.5 to 3 on a medium. So we're going to be at 3 minutes soon. And we're going to push down gently. I'm going to pull this off the scales while I do that. We're going to reach 3 minutes soon, and then we're going to use one hand, my arm, two hands. Just gently push down on the Aeropress. Alright, 3 minutes now. Just going to gently push down the Aeropress. Stabilize it. Until it's gone through. Just one smooth push. No need to, because there's a hiss when it starts getting pushed through the puck. Doesn't matter. Now, with a dark roast like this, those bitter flavours are going to come out when you over extract. Now, good dark roast shouldn't have them, because we brewed as well at a lower temperature. We're going to not be extracting as much. Higher temperature leads to higher extraction in coffee, and so going with a lower temp, we'll go a slightly lower temp, slightly lower extraction. You should still, there you are, all the way through to about 50 seconds. Stop that. Just take this off now. Take out this little thing, and I'm going to get my spoon and just give the cup a little stir. Let's go seat ourselves. Seat ourselves with that cup. Now that we have. So this is dark roast Brazilian coffee, single origin, specialty grade, freshly roasted and freshly ground coffee. This is pretty decently fresh, and with a dark roast like this you need to let it sit for much less time. Light roast, they say up to a week. You want to let it rest from roasting, because you don't want it to be too fresh, too much CO2. With a dark roast, there's much less CO2, so the resting period is much slower. They normally say 3 days is perfectly fine. Dark roast will also last, it won't last as long. Dark roast tends to last 3 to 4 weeks, light roasts can last up to 6. So I hope this is good, because if it's so, I'll drink it more. Letting it cool, but this little glass cup is really, really good. I use it to make milk drinks quite a lot. Froth up some milk. My personal favourite method to froth milk while I'm making an Aeropress is to just heat up some milk in the microwave at a cup and then use a French press. You're not going to get the nice micro foam that you're going to get with a steam one, but I don't really have a good steam one on my espresso machine anyway. It doesn't do a great job, and I find it's just an easier way to do it instead of having to turn the espresso machine on, let it heat up, then get steam wand all set up, cleared through and then clean afterwards. It's much easier to use a French press in my opinion when you're not using the machine. If I was using the machine, I would use the wand. Now this smells good. It smells sweet, slightly chocolatey, malty. It smells nice. It smells nice. It does not smell bitter. It doesn't smell like it's going to be astringent. It smells like it's just going to be a good dark roast, and it's really hard to find because dark roast generally is shit. That is a good dark roast. Really nice and balanced. It's still quite hot, but there is no bitterness, there is no stringency, it doesn't leave any dry taste, there's no off flavours, it's not sour, there's very little acidity as you would expect. But it's nice and chocolatey, and it's decently strong with 14 grams in to 180 with a 2 minute immersion plus the percolation phase. This is a really nice cup of coffee. There's a really nice chocolatiness, a really nice maltiness to this dark roast, which I'm glad about. I'm going to try some different methods, try brewing some espresso style with the Aeropress with this, make some milk drinks with it. Dark roasts tend to work better in a milk drink just because they can tend to be more strong, intense flavours. Light roasts can get lost. But an excellent, excellent cup of coffee. Truly a really nice dark roast from Pact Coffee. They've delivered again every coffee they've had. I've had 3 so far from them. Each one has been great. I had a Colombian medium roast. The first one, it was nice. I was only just getting into coffee then, but it was nice. The Colombian light roast, the Miraflores, is an excellent, excellent introductory light roast. Really nice. And this dark roast, well, probably the best dark roast I've had. It's really nice. It's a really, really nice cup of coffee. Right. Very thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot, folks.